Okay, there is a video that I have been meaning to make that I have not made yet, that now is the time to make it. And the reason why is because someone commented that they are in Tennessee and they are looking for a homestead, and I could not in good conscience let them go out without knowing this important piece of information. So let's go into the garden. Oh my gosh, it's looking so good. All right, I have my notes and your coffee. We're going to talk about my number one favorite way to buy cheap houses. HUD. What are HUD houses? HUD houses are houses that had a government-backed mortgage and are now in foreclosure. What is the objective of HUD? HUD, the government, wants to get their money back, or as much of their money as possible, and they want to try to get owner-occupants to live in the house, if possible. So that makes these houses different than other houses that you would go to try to buy, because when you're going to a normal house, they don't really care who's buying it, they just want the best price. This is different. Because of these objectives, the HUD houses are put up for sale in two stages. The first stage is for owner occupants. Only people who are going to live in the house can try to buy the house. If the time period they give for that runs out, then it's open to anyone and everyone, which means it's time for the investors to come in and buy. Also, sometimes they have periods where it'll go for only like nonprofit organizations, but in general, it's usually owner occupants and then open to everyone. Also, because they're trying to get the most money back, they start at a certain price, and then at regular intervals, if they don't sell, they will drop the price. This comes into play later with strategy. So why are these like on market, off market houses? That's how I would describe them. The reason why is because the seller is the government. And if you've ever seen the government do anything, they don't always do it really well. Story time. One of the HUD houses that I bought, we were going to go ahead and sell it. And a man who lived around the area started talking to us about the house when he found out that we were going to sell it. And he said that he was interested in buying it and that he had actually tried to buy it before we did. And he said because of that, he knew how much like we paid for it, because he said he had bid on it in an online auction, and he had bid $140,000 for the house, and he didn't get the house. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I didn't say anything. And I certainly didn't tell him we'd actually bought the house for $102,000. And this goes to show you that it's not a straightforward process. It's kind of a weird, messed up process, and you have to know what you're doing. But if you do know what you're doing, you can get a really good deal on these houses. It also shows you that they could have gotten $140,000 for it, but they didn't, because of the convoluted way that they sell these houses. But you know what? Con for them, pro for you. So I say that it's an on-market, off-market deal because the normal places that I at least look for houses, that normal people look for houses, would be like if you go on Zillow, you go on realtor.com, you're going on all your little online sites to go look for houses. And these houses, sometimes they are there. Sometimes they are there. Sometimes they are listed as for sale. Sometimes they are listed just as foreclosures. And sometimes they're not listed at all. They're not even on those sites at all, and you wouldn't even know that these houses are for sale. So basically, these listings are sometimes not updated or not listed at all. Number two, price. Sometimes they do not update the price in a timely fashion. So when the government or whoever decides to drop the price, sometimes that's not reflected online until much later, and sometimes it's not reflected at all. I don't know. It's just like there's a disconnect. So the price that you see online might not be the price that it actually is, and that actually becomes very important when you're trying to buy them. So that also happened on that house. The price had dropped to $115,000, but it was still listed at $144,000. But it never updated anywhere except where I knew to look, which I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now, just kind of a basic thing. If you're on Zillow, if you're on realtor.com or whatever, and you're looking at a house that does say it's for sale, or like a foreclosure, if it has like a timestamp on all the pictures, if the pictures are not professionally done, first of all, and then they have like a weird timestamp on the bottom, a lot of times those are HUD houses. So if you see that, don't trust what is listed there. Go to the actual source, the HUD source, to check on those houses. So, like I said, pros and cons of HUD houses. Basically, all the cons actually work out as pros for us. So not listing them on Zillow, that's a con normally. That's a pro for us because it means less people are knowing that this house is for sale. Not updating the price reductions in a timely fashion, that is seen as a con, but that's a pro for us because other people don't know that these houses have now been discounted. Also, a con that I see as a pro is a lot of times these houses will have something wrong with them. Nature of the game. They don't always, but sometimes, a lot of times they do. So I think that's a pro because it knocks out a bunch of people who then can't buy them. For instance, a lot of FHA loans, if you have an FHA loan, they require like everything to be pretty much put together in a house. This is my knowing of it, having sold houses to people with FHA loans. A lot of times people who are selling houses, they won't say it, and you're not supposed to say it, and you're not supposed to care, but a lot of times they're like, oh, I don't want to have someone with an FHA loan, because like they're so picky with the repair requests and like what they need to see in a house. We'll say we never had a problem with that because our house is beautiful. That's a brag on my husband is what that is. Anyways, so that knocks out a bunch of buyers that maybe can't get the house because it's not 100%. A pro, however, is that while they might have things wrong with them, they do tell you, to the best of their knowledge, what is wrong with them. And that is also listed on the website where the real information is listed. So that's unlike an auction where you have no idea what you're stepping into. When you go to like the auction downtown or in your city and you're buying a house and you're just kind of going in blind and just hoping that everything's okay, but knowing that it might not be. These houses have been somewhat tested. They'll do like a pressure test on the pipes. They'll do a kind of electrical inspection. However, normally then they winterize the house. So when you go into the house, there's no electricity, no running water, but they've tested them. But that also means they don't know exactly what's wrong. They might say it failed pressure test, which means you're gonna have plumbing issues. You don't know what the plumbing issues are. You don't know how extensive the plumbing issues are, but you know there's gonna be plumbing issues because it failed the pressure test. Another pro of these houses, as opposed to like auction houses, you can go look at them as if they were any house for sale. You can go look at them. You do have to take a real estate agent, and you need a real estate agent to buy these houses. You cannot buy them without a real estate agent. But you can go look at them and really like see what's wrong with them, see if you like them, walk through them, and this is probably the biggest reasons why I like these houses are because I can go look at them and see them as opposed to an auction. I have a list of what is potentially wrong with the major systems like the plumbing and the electricity. And I know what the price is. I know what the price is, and then I know what to offer. Like it's a set thing, and I have time to sit and think about it. Whereas I've been to auctions before. I have not bought something in an auction, although I've bid at an auction, precisely because an auction is kind of a high energy deal that sometimes you can get a little bit like, oh, well, I really want that house. Well, I was only going to go to this price, but now I'm going to go to this price. Like things can just kind of get out of control at an auction. So you need to make sure that's a whole nother thing that we're not talking about right now. So that's why HUD houses are my absolute favorite way to buy off market, even though they are on market houses. Where do you find these houses? Where are they? How do you find the list of these houses? I'll tell you right now, there's a website It is called HUDhomestore.gov. Okay, so you go to that website and that's where you find all your information. Now look, no offense to the government, but the website is not intuitive. It is kind of tricky to figure out. It's very weird, especially because they have the different stages of offering these houses for sale. Whoever made the website, I feel like made it as confusing as they could, which is another pro for you because some people look at it and just give up. I'm gonna go ahead and make a video about how to look at the website and what all the different things mean and how to use it. And then after that, I will also make a video on how to actually buy a HUD house because the process is different than buying a normal house. It's just different, still a little wonky. And there's strategy involved. But once you know, once you get it all, once you have the website down, once you have the strategy down, it is just, in my opinion, the best way to buy cheap houses. So that is my video for now. HUD houses. If you're looking for a homestead or a house in general, and you're not having luck finding anything on market, a HUD house may be in your future. And I wanted to put that out there, especially because for you in Tennessee who are looking, I went on the HUD website recently, specifically looking in Tennessee, and there are houses with acreage. So when I make those videos, I'll post them. So I'll link them, you'll see them. So thanks for coming by, enjoy your coffee.